Hi everyone, it's Bev DeBona with Tuesday's Tip. I have two really fun borders to show you today, and this technique that I like to call borders with a banner. So let's get started with the very first one, and I'm going to be using our Border Maker cartridge system with this, as well as some scraps that I had left over. So the first one I'm going to make is the Halloween one. And to get started, I am using the new Bats and Stars Border Maker cartridge from Creative Memories. So you want to insert that into your Border Maker system and then get your first paper that you are going to punch this with. So I'm going to use the orange shimmer. I'm going to sneak that right under the paper guide and then fold it back and then start with my punching with the Border Maker, lining it up so that the little tabs are all together. Now this is a brand new border cartridge and a really fun one because what comes out for your debris are little bats and stars that you can also use on your pages. Just get some glue gun or your little glue tip pen, adhesive, and it's a fun one that you can then put away. So don't throw these out. These are certainly ones that we can use. Now to make this border, what I did was I then cut that off at the 1.25 inch mark. So I cut that at the 1.25 inch. And I'm going to use it to the right-hand side because there's more paper left over on the left-hand side for me to hold on to. And that's really all that determines which side of the trimmer I use. So that is 1.25 inches. Now, when I make a border and I'm layering my border, what I like to do is to try to have 1/4 inch top and bottom to give it a border. So because this is 1.25 inches, my next piece is going to be 1.75 inches. So I'm going to cut this, and I'm using a black shimmer, and I'm cutting this to 1.75 inches. So I'm lining it up on my trimmer to 1.75 inches. And this time I'm using the left-hand side of the trimmer because there's more paper for me to hold on to on the left-hand side. Okay, and I'm going to cut that straight up with 1.75 inches. So these are my two layers so far. And one is 1.25 inches and the other is 1.75 inches. And then I want some type of a busy pattern or a stripe to put behind it. And I've selected this from, actually this was from Halloween Fun. And again, I want 1/4 inch on the top and the bottom. So this is now going to be, the black was 1.75 inches, so this is now going to be 2.25 inches. And to give it some definition, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the blade in my trimmer. So I'm taking out the straight blade and I'm going to put in a Victorian blade, which is going to give it a little bit of a jagged edge. Now I've already cut this piece with that. So I'm going to put it in and cut my other side to 2.25 inches. 2.25 inches. And you see it's got a fun, looks a little spooky in a way, design. All right, and those are my 3 cuts so far. Make sure you put your straight blade back into your trimmer, otherwise, like me, you'll forget and you'll start cutting everything with a different blade. Okay, so now I'm ready to layer. So I'm going to first put my Bats and Stars border on top of the black shimmer. And with using the repositionable tape and on a piece of wax paper or parchment paper, I can go straight down. And the repositionable tape has little micro dots. And what that does is and I'll hold it up here so that you could see. The little micro dots only, when you're using it on wax paper, only show up where there's actually paper. So it's really pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to put that down, and I'm going to just then use my mat and do 1/4 of an inch up and 1/4 of an inch down. And now you're ready to use your other mat, your other piece, and I'm using my mat on that. And I'm just going to put it at a line, straight line across. So this way I can see on my mat 1/4 of an inch down from where it is and 1/4 of an inch up from the bottom. And so now I have my major pieces of my border done. So now to make the banner, what I do is I just get some scraps that kind of coordinate with the busy pattern in the back or the stripe. For this particular one, I had 3 banners, so I made the bigger one 1.5 inches, and then the other 2 were just 1 inch a piece. And these were, again, as I said, only scraps. So the first one, the one in the middle, was 1.5 inches, so I just cut that down, to about 1.5 inches. I don't know, maybe. And I just left it, and I will figure that out how big I want them to be. And then the 2 pieces on the side are 1 inch, just 1 inch wide. Okay, so now that I have my inches, what I want to do is take my pieces and just give them a gentle fold, and using my scissor, and you can use your micro tip scissor if you like. And I'm just gonna, this is just random, take a side and go straight, cut straight to that point. So that's the first one. And I'm gonna just gently fold that one over. That's the second one. So you're just gonna cut to the tippy top. And that's the third. And then what I want to do is I just want to position them on my, mat. And I'm probably going to start it about 1 inch in from the side. And I'm going to then just kind of stagger them, again using my repositionable tape. I'm just kind of placing them where they will look. And one can be longer than the other. There's no right or wrong. And because I am going to be starting this 1 inch in from the side, so I'm going to place my first piece here, which is 1 inch in, using my mat. And I'm going to put a little bit of tape at the bottom here where that piece is going to go. And I just want to see how I'm going to line it up with my other one, and just want to see where that's going to be. So there's no, you just kind of play it by ear with that. And then I'll just go and clip off whatever's left over from this piece above. So there is your first border. And it's a lot of fun. It's a great spooky Halloween border. And again, just using our brand new Bats and Stars border maker cartridge, which is really kind of fun. Now for my second border, what I'd like to show you is actually making a sunshine with the sun rays using the same idea with the banners. So let's bring this one up. And I am going to start with, again, a Border Maker cartridge. I'm going to use the Sailboats this time. So I'm going to switch out my Bats and Stars and go for my Sailboats. And then I'm going to decide on my paper, which is this beautiful paper from Serene Waters. Slip it under the paper guide. Magnetic strip holds it in place. I'm flipping it back, and now I am punching it all the way down. And this is going to make, and this is the Rolling Sailboat Border Maker cartridge, which came out at the same time as this beautiful Serene Waters paper pack. And then just remove all of your debris. Now with this one, what I want to do is cut this to 2 1/4. So I'm going to cut this to 2 1/4. Nope, sorry, 2 3/4. So I'm going to put the tippy top of my sailboat at the 2 3/4 mark. And trim that away. So that is at the 2 3/4. Now my second layer, I am, again, as I say, I decide what I'm going to use first. So I'm going to use this laser border, and that measures, a little over 1/2 inch. So remember that rule of thumb. So my border, my strip that's going on top of that one is going to be a 1 inch strip. So it's going to be a 1 inch. And then the one that's going to go behind that is now going to be the 1.5 inches. So I'm going to cut my piece. I'm going to put a piece of fish behind that, and that will be 1.5 inches. So now I'm ready to layer that, and then we'll start with our banner. So let's put our border on first with our repositionable tape. This is going to go right on our orange strip. And these are laser borders that come in the pack. And so I am layering a laser border on top of a strip, and then another strip, and then putting that on top of a border that I punched with the Border Maker system. And now that's going to go on the strip. That's 1.5 inches. And I can see by using my mat exactly where I can line that up. And I'm going to do the same thing with layering it on to onto my sailboats. And I want the same amount showing on the bottom. So I'm going to line that at the 6 inch mark right on my mat there. And I know I want about 1/4 inch to show, so I'm going to just use my mat side to side at the 1/4 inch mark, and now it's perfectly straight. So now it's time to do a sun. And you can do this in a couple different ways. You can actually, in this one I used paper from the pack, but there are also some beautiful mats in that pack that you can cut and make a sun that can go behind that one. So let's do that using, I'm just going to use the smallest circle, And I'm going to use just the red blade on the outside. I just want to get that sun in there just because it's already designed for us so we can use it, and it makes a beautiful design on the page. So I'm going to use my red blade on the outside and cut through that. Just make a nice round circle. And that's going to become the sun that's going to go behind the sailboat. Now to make the sun rays, what I want to do again is just go through my some of my scraps. And I have, this time I'm only going to use the 1-inch scraps. So I have 1-inch, I have a bunch of 1-inch ones already. So what I'm going to do is, or some scraps already that I could use, I'm going to make sure they're all 1 inch before, and then I'm going to cut it the same way as my banner. So I might use like 6 of them. And these are all leftover pieces and scraps, and really a great way to use some of them up. Let's see, look at this piece here. This is great. I can probably get 2 out of this one. So let's cut that in half. So I probably need another dark orange one. Maybe I'll cut it from here. So again, just using up my scraps of what I have. And I need like 6, I think. So maybe I'll cut another one of this. And I'm going to do this exact same thing that I did with the other banner, which is lightly fold them in half, just lightly. And with your micro tip scissor, just clip it so that you get down to the edge. And I'm going to be placing these all the way around. Just your micro tip scissor all the way to the edge. Don't worry about the length, we'll figure that all out. We'll see what the how big it will be. And it's just a fun, just a different look on your page. I know I have beautiful sunset pictures I took this summer, and I can't wait to get them on these pages because they are so pretty. Well, they will be very pretty with this design. And this is also a border that goes on the bottom of the page or the top of the page. So it has definitely some versatility. So what I'm going to do now is just put some repo tape all the way around, and then slowly just position some of my, I'm going to put this directly in the middle. I'm going to maybe angle it to the side so that the sun's coming over the edge. So I'm going to put this directly in the middle, and then I'm just going to build some of my banners. And maybe these are a little too big. Just slightly build some of my banners all the way around. And just vary your colors. It makes a really pretty sunshine, sun rays. I know with autumn coming, not looking forward to not having the beach, but, and I'm going to cut a little bit of some of this off because it's a little too long, and continue to just place these around. Lightly just lift it up, and with the repositionable tape you can see how easy it is to move move it around if it's not in a place that you like it. No, maybe I didn't put tape on that side. That's why it's not sticking. So don't worry about what that looks like in the back because it's not going to even be showing. So your important piece was just getting all of your banners like so. Okay, and now that you have that done, I'm going to just put my sailboats on top of that. And now I have a sailboat shining in the sun. So these are a couple of what I call banners with borders. And they, borders with banners, I mean, and they're really just a fun, different way that you can use up some of your scraps for the banners. And each time you do, I mean, they'll look a little, they could look a little different. So I hope you enjoyed Tuesday's tip. I hope to see you next week. And please make a comment so I know that you liked it. And you can watch the rest of my videos on Bev DeBono Designs on YouTube. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.